The Theatre of the Mind, live number, was it 198, I think, tonight. I just have to do a couple of things just to make sure that that doesn't run out. Thank you very much. So I'm very much... there's so much to talk about tonight. So much. Right, okay. I'm not sure I'm going to get through all of my notes, all of it equally as important as each other. I'm going to get to your comments in a moment. Thank you to everyone who's in the body of the Kirk so far. I just have to make sure that I can see everything, and my eyesight's not short, and right, lovely. Let me get into this. I've got my hibiscus, sorry about the cough, but we will get to it. We're early-ish, so I can do some parish notes this evening. Control-Alt-Delete says, oi, oi, Savaloy. Oh, we are all well today. I think we're coping. I think everybody's thankful that there's a bit of rain coming, including the weeds. Control-Alt-Delete, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Paulie Galtieri, good evening, Adrian. Yeah, that's wrong, and hope you've had a good day. Well, it's been interesting. It's it's been interesting. Les Griffith says, evening all, looking forward to another great Kirk this evening. Yeah, very kind, Les. We will and are about to get stuck in. So those coming into the body of the Kirk, if you can smash the likes on the way in, it really does help. Seemingly, the algorithm, which is just the audience, the YouTube audience goes, oh, hello, what's going on here? Stuart says, evening, Rev, looking forward to another sermon. Hope Sister Mary has put the air conditioning on and has the tea and coffee and Battenberg ready. Me too, although it does get slightly cold in the body of the Kirk. So we have put out, British summertime, so we have put out some blankets for people's knees, just because, well, you know, we're getting older and we do complain of the cold. So welcome to the body of the Kirk, Stuart. And I see John T. Road has been sacked from MasterChef. Love to hear your thoughts on that, Rev. Oh, yeah, bet you sweet baby we're going to talk about that tonight. T. Road. I mean, fancy having a name. T. Road. John T. Road. I used to think, John T, how posh is he? Rich, my comment was... What? Rich? My comment was removed. Is that tonight? Well, unfortunately, it is now the norm. They fear truth. I'm with Les. We don't touch the comments unless there's people in the body of the Kirk that is upsetting the harmony of the body of the Kirk, and they are just duly dispatched. But Rich, you're a regular, so I'm not quite sure. We've not touched any of your comments. I think it must be Yo Chobe. Les Griffiths says, oh yeah, we got that one. Leeds says, evening, Adrian, because that's how Leeds talks nowadays. Good luck for the Premiership, Leeds. You and I will be having at least 2 matches together this season, but Leeds are, I mean, I want them to stay up. I do want them to stay up. I do fancy Chelsea for the Premiership now, obviously. But Leeds says, evening, Adrian. Can we talk about the 12-year-old girl getting sent home from school because she wore a union dress? A once great country is an embarrassment. I completely agree with you, and yes, we shall. I'll just do a few comments and then we'll probably go with that first. So, Rebel says, good evening all. Hope you're girding your loins for tonight's session, Rev. My loins have never been so girded in all their life, so Rebel. Just takes a little stroke. Tom Harney's evening all, as a wrong philosopher once said. A Battenberg, my kingdom for a Battenberg, thrice Battenberg. Your Honour, welcome Tom, welcome to the body of the Kirk, and Louise Hampson is in, feet up, Battenberg, altar wine, and possibly a cup of tea. Evening all, yeah, wrong. Evening Louise, welcome. I see you as in the body of the Kirk, good to see you there, I see you. Sales of the British flag are going to skyrocket, methinks. Damn right. Look, let's get the language, the lexicon correct. We know that okay. I will say that the Union flag is the Union flag, made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. And it's only a jack, a Union jack, when it's on the jack staff on a boat. Some people say ship, but it's more sailing vessel, but it's the jack staff, and that's the only time it's a Union Jack. Well, we all know that. Some people are saying it as if they kind of know what they're talking about. How to end shite. Yes, Les Griffiths, thank you. Smash the likes, you're wrong, and as you're coming into the body of the Kirk, bang, 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 bang. Let's have lots of banging this evening, shall we? Manda Sky says, evening, Adrian and chat. Evening, Manda. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Matthew Whedon. Good. Thank you for the heads up, young sir. That's the Scarlet Pimpernel. Duly dealt with. Cell Rebel says, doesn't sound quite right that the altar boy has his cherry popped by the Rev. I'm not popping it, his cherry. He's probably one of the usual, one of the letter people that you know who, Doggy, came out with at his trial to try and get less of a sentence and got 5.5 years. So, altar boy, bless you. And go and deal with your deviant Lord and Master. Lily Bell. Thank you, Manda Sky. Thank you, Lily Bell. Good to see you in the body of the Kirk again. And Les Griffith says, it seems someone in the Kirk is putting up stickers in the loo. Really, Les? Advertising mum's services. She is greatly upset. It's the wrong phone number. Brilliant, Les. That is proper funny. So let's talk about, let's have a look. It's in, because I'm feeling that the Greg Wallace story is a diversion. It is a diversion. Schools to tackle misogyny epidemic. Oh, do kindly, Foxtrot Oscar. Do kindly, Rachel. And sex education revamp will also cover deep fakes, AI and incels. What the bloody hell are they showing our kids in school? Oh, let's have some sex education. Well, let's not. Let the parents of the children decide what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. We should stop the state getting involved in our children's lives. Education, yes. And in law, a child of 12 and under cannot make an informed sexual decision. So no sex education until they're 13. So these deviant fuckers in Parliament can go and stick it up their hairy backsides. All of them, mind you, most of them probably will enjoy it, including the women. So I do believe that the Greg Wallace and John T. Rhodes story is actually bollocks. Sorry, rollocks. I'm already starting. Me potty mouth's kicked in. Sex jokes, racism, state of undress, bullying, unwanted physical contact. And it's getting front page in the Daily Mirror. Oh, I wonder why. And we're getting a double page spread further in. Look, this is the government manipulating the media for propaganda. So actually you don't find out what they're up to. They've only got 2 weeks left before they go on 6 months sojourn for the summer. The King and the soon-to-be Dowager Queen are in the papers today. And then we get into the Chancellor responds to speculation on levies. This woman is a lunatic. A lunatic. But what's happening now is the next 2 weeks, mark my words, the next 2 weeks, there'll be stories after stories after stories. Ginger Growler, she's not in the press, bless her. Maybe she forgot to put her knickers on today. Rachel from accounts, she's, well, you know, I won't raise taxes on working people. What's that then? Why don't you raise the taxes on the fucking MPs who get everything for nout? Including you. Married to 2 multi-millionaires. Doctors' pay rise is fair. Oh, of course it is. To the doctors, Jesus. And there was it's the reason why I'm going through the newspapers. I'm trying to find this young girl who was in. I'm going through the Daily Mirror, the BBC. We broke rules. Oh, do kindly, Foxtrot, Oscar, man, we're not interested. Did she? It must have done. I have no idea why J-Lo continues to be in the press. I've no idea. Because nobody's asking the appropriate question. How are you, pet? Have you been shagging loads of black men with Diddy? Because Diddy likes his girlfriends to get train wrecked. So come on, J-Lo, tell us. Because she's not... nobody's saying anything because it's Hollywood. I would say I know what the answer is. And this is utter rollocks, man. I mean, just... justice for baby Victoria. We are going to talk about that tonight, so I'll keep that out. And another reason why I am doing this and going through the Daily Mirror is the Daily Mirror does not mention the story at all. Not any part of the young girl that went to school in, well, I think it's like a Spice Girl dress. And they are totally British, totally. I mean, the Spice Girls, what-ho. Totally British. And she went with a Union bowler hat with ginger spices, not growler. She went into school for a culture day, and she was told to go home because, and I do. It's kind of yesterday's story, but I definitely saw it. It must be in the Mail. I definitely saw it. But these, the killers of baby Victoria, fuck, I mean, I am going to be really honest with you. I read the story today, and I said to you last night, I did bring it. Nice one, Sean. Did you know rissoles contain eye holes, ear holes, and arseholes? It obviously contains a lot of Labour Party politicians. And so, any culture except British, says the Sun. Sun bans girls' UK flag dress from Diversity Day. And the quicker we get rid of this Labour Party, the quicker we get rid of these morons, these mogadons that are in power, then the quicker. The scum-sucking pond life that is for the working man. Do you know there was some poll that I was told about today, and the Jeremy Corbyn party that doesn't even have a name other than Sultana, it might be nuts and raisins. It would be appropriate, is polling better than the Labour Party. Starmer is toxic. The Labour Party is finished. It's a busted flush. It's finished. It's gone. It's over. Bye-bye. Foxtrot Oscar. But this young girl, what was she? You get to celebrate being British every day. Really? I mean, some people say, oh, well, you know, curry, it's a national dish. No. Roast beef and Yorkshire pud is a national dish. A full British breakfast is a national dish. Curry is not a national dish. You might say you love a ruby, but roast beef. There are things that we are partial to in this sceptred isle, including a ruby and a few beers. But a girl was banned from a school's cultural diversity day for wearing a Union. You see, this is in current bun. They're calling it a Union Jack dress. I mean, it must be the Office Junior that's written this, because it's not a Union Jack dress. It's a Union flag dress, at best. It's a Union dress. That Hurt says the school also turned away a lad dressed as a farmer. I read, school must be crying now. Nigel Beasley says this country's going down the PAM. Pam who? Martine says, Tommy Robinson has invited the little girl to speak on stage September 13th. She's so excited, bless her. And wear the Union flag dress. And the, well, it was one of those hats. I mean, she'll get a very warm welcome from anybody that's at that march where she speaks to. Look, it's kind of, I would suggest this, it's kind of dog whistle politics. So it's, oh my word, moral indignation, let's all have a bit of this. And the moral indignation is, how very dare they, how very dare they. And I keep telling you, we're the best fighters in the world. Wait till it kicks off. We've already had the Peasants' Revolt in the 1300s, led by Tyler Watt. I'm not quite sure whether that's a made-up name or not. But we've... do you know, I couldn't remember what day it was there. I thought, hang on, is it Wednesday or Tuesday? It was a 7:30 start. So everyone that's in the body of the Kirk, just go and get us over 100 lakes. That would make my evening, considering the amount of work I've done today for you. Les Griffiths, would they have sent her home if she was wearing Union flag burqa? Black's the new orange, seemingly. I know I've turned it around. It's almost a spoonerism. Orange is the new black. Paul Mabley, it probably didn't even happen. Stories like this come along all the time to on slow news days. There is that. I agree, Paul. And this is, so over the next 2 weeks, what they're going to do is they're going to flood the zone, going to flood the reportage, the news cycle, and just fill it full of shit. So you can't keep up. I mean, today I was looking at some of the newspapers over the last couple of weeks, and some of the stories we've kind of talked about, but not talked about in depth. And I'm thinking, blimey, we could have. But they're just flooding the zone now. They've learnt it from the Donald, and I don't think the Donald is very well. I'm going to be really straight with you. I don't think he's very well at all. Beata says, that hurt. Really, a farmer? I'm from a farming background, and I wouldn't take that quietly. Well, the shaft in the farmers, left, right and centre, these ne'er-do-wells in the Ozempic Palace. Angelic Inspirations, have a lovely birthday, Lily Bell. Oh, happy birthday, Lily Bell. Is it your birthday today? Pauline Makepeace says, I saw her interview. Brilliant. Made me cry. I say. Andy Turner says, evening, old man. Evening, young sir. I would rather be old and wise than young, dumb and full of cum. Paulie Galtieri says, I've dressed up as a camel shagger. I'd have dressed up as a camel shagger. They'd have let you in as well, Paulie. I see you. Trump looks like he's lost weight quick. I'm very concerned because the whole world will go to rat shit if the Donald is not very well. I mean, if you think about it, kings always had somebody test their food for poisoning and stuff. And if they want him gone, look, if he goes, and I wish him a long life and I wish him good health, the world is in a very precarious state at the moment. I noticed that about Trump as well. It's not great, and he looks different but the same. Mind you, they've had a president for 4 years who we wouldn't know whether he was Arthur or Martha or whether he was wearing a mask or not, because the military, their intelligence officers are rather marvellous in what they wear and what they do. Cuban Pete says, have you seen the smug look on the face of Raina and her ginger growler? I haven't seen a ginger growler, but I've seen the face on Raina. The stress and strain of being blackmailed by Israel. There is that, Paulie Galtieri. Cuban Pete, I'm going to talk about the Labour Party, and I'm going to talk about the usual suspects. There's an outsider coming in, positioning for leader of the Labour Party, called Clive Lewis. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she said, just keep an eye, because he's a good outside bet. They're all jockeying for position. Jockeying? Mad Matt UK, good evening, Mad Matt. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Good evening, Rev. I've heard gypsies, travellers have come together to fight against immigrants, trashing a migration camp. Oh dear, have they? My money's on the travellers. They don't go about. Same as the Irish. They don't go about either. Oh, I say, somebody's banging my door. Get arrested for that. So this young girl, I'm glad she's going to speak at the rally. That's going to be most off-putting. So my take on it, and I look forward to your comments in the comments, obvs. But who these namby-pamby pinko liberals that are just kind of sitting there going, oh, I say, no, you can't do that. Here, mate, Foxtrot Oscar, you call yourself a teacher, you should be inspiring the kids, not castigating them for wearing our nation, as in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, flag. Maybe they want to fly the communist flag. Maybe they want to fly the Chinese Communist Party. Because you know all these arsehole teachers. Look at the state of our educational system because of those arseholes in the teaching profession. I've shit more intelligent stuff than them. And I mean that disrespectfully. Why? Because, oh, well, you know, I'm going to get my pension and I know what I'm doing with kids. Do you? So does Gary Glitter. How do you rectify that then? How do you square that off? I see you ask a very pertinent question. What persuasion was the teacher? I think the school needs to be held to account. I think the British indigenous population need to hold that school to account. But you know what? The education minister and the education secretary and all these pathetic scum-sucking pond life in the Ozempic Palace. They'll go, no, that was fine. That was appropriate. Rollocks. Absolute rollocks. English Bottle Cap. Bilton Silver Band is a good band. Perhaps Tommy could invite Bilton Silver Band. He could always try and get the David Lammy Gastric Band. They're a good band, seemingly. Help you lose loads of weight. I mean, fat lad. Jesus. Mr. Creosote made him look like... It makes David Lammy's Gastric Band makes Mr. Creosote look anorexic. Des Ashton, I refer you to my last post. Oh, Des, what you been saying you're wrong. What nationality? The teachers? The wrong ones, evidently. Because I just... hang on, Des. How far back did you go? I love the fact that there's so many comments. I'm having to troll through them. Because we do like comment. I just... A bit like Baby Victoria. These, we'll kind of get to that. Everything is the system. The system. The system isn't right. The system, they'll say, oh, well, it's not perfect. We do try our best. Evidently not. But young girl, excited, going to school, diversity day. What does diversity means? Is it sexual diversity? So all the teachers will be the bloody perverts. So you've got all this, hopefully it wouldn't be because the children are too young. So then what is it? Cultural diversity? How can we be culturally diverse in this country? Now, some people say, yes, but, you know, we've got all these immigrants that came into this country. Yeah, the right kind of immigrants. Legal ones, not the illegal ones. Not the ones that fancy sailing across the channel to get for free phones and free houses and free healthcare and free dentistry, free orthodontics and free money weekly. I mean, you know, you're shagging camels in Afghanistan one day, you get on a boat, come across the channel, all of a sudden, you're getting like a year's wages in a week, comparatively. And the Afghanistanis. You know why there's a shit ton of them coming into this country, don't you? Because the Brits and the Americans, who were in Afghanistan fighting the Taliban, used them, and then when they decided, oh, we'll leave now, we'll just leave them to it, they left all of the interpreters and all the people that the Taliban and the Afghanistanis knew were bollock deep with the Brits and the Americans. So who's going to be first on the let's kill off some of the people that fraternise with the Brits and the Americans? Correct. So they've all legged it over here. The Brits didn't want them, but they had to give them. And people are saying, oh, well, you know, we should come out of the European Convention for Human Rights. What, the actual? Can you hear what you're saying? Can you hear the bullshit that's tripping off your tongue? Can you hear the shite that's coming out of your mouth? Do you not understand that the government would love to get rid of the European Convention for Human Rights? Why? Because then they'll shaft you even more. Touch your toes. You know what we've got in power. You know the deviants and what they're up to. You know Funboy 3 and the Four Tops, what they'll do. Touch your toes. I'm just going to get me miner's lamp and click. I just want to have a look. It won't be painful. Might not feel much. Diversity Day doesn't sound good at all, says Andy H. They shouldn't. Look, if they are judging and the whichever educational county they're within, I do hope that Farage, mind you, I don't trust reform. I'm telling you, be careful what you wish for. They need to have a word with these people. They need to say to them, and this is what Trump does. So what are you doing? Diversity. And what have you done? Oh, we send a teenager home because she was wearing a union dress and a little plastic union hat. So we thought it was unacceptable. Ah, do you? Right. And what do the voters think? Well, they're a bit with a moral indignation is what's coming across to me. Right. So who do you think you are deciding what you can and can't do? And there's 64 million in this country that have decided that you, as in the teacher or the educational authority, are full of caring, understanding 90s types. So what we're going to do, unacceptable, sacked. Oh, your pension. Fuck off. You're not getting a pension. We're going to get rid of that as well. So all the teachers that are fraternizing with the educational system. That's why our kids are not leaving school educated. And I don't mean, well, they know a little bit of mathematics and they know a little bit of English. But if you can't speak English, you're not going into our educational system. If you can't speak English, there will be no more translators. So you can't go into the NHS. Even if you're in pain and next to death's door, you can't. Imagine wanting to go to a country where you can't speak the fucking language. I see you says, unacceptable to shame and embarrass an innocent child, in my opinion. I'm with you. I see you. Absolutely with you. Land of hope and glory, English bottle cap. Land of hope and glory and bullshit teaching and bullshit educational system in this country. How do we end shape, man? How do we? Because eventually the worm's going to turn. And that's when, because you know the Nazis in the Second World War, when the Allies went in, all of a sudden was, I was just following orders. What do you mean? Well, I know what I did, but I was just following orders, so I had no choice. You've always got a choice. Stand up and be counted. So the 64 million of these in this country, soon enough, are absolutely going to be apoplectic with rage. And the government won't be able to govern us. They'll put the guns on the streets, they'll put the army on the street, but the army also includes the indigenous population from this country. So is anybody going to fight for this? It makes me want to swear my fucking head off, that man. Rev, any update from Vivian Darlow? I haven't got any so far, Bad Wolf. I will try and contact her over the next few days. I do hope she's well. And there was one or two other people that have... I mean, people might... somebody posted one of the comments. And thank you to Paul... thank you to Pauline Makepeace for just updating me. Thank you in the comments, Pauline. And somebody says, I don't watch it live, Rev. When I take my dogs out for a walk on a morning, I listen then, I play on catch up. So that's why we do 2 hours, so that the dogs get a decent walk. But I'm telling you this, the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab is a cancer that has spread because they think they have the power. And it's all because the politicians are grifting the money, the Benjamins, the moolah, the greenbacks, the pounds. They're sending it abroad. It's coming back corruptly and going into their trouser pocket. Those morons in the Ozempic Palace are not there to look after us. They're there to look after themselves. So what would I do? How would I change things? I'll tell you this. Anybody that has anything to do with the legal profession, I'd take them out and put them in front of a firing squad. Because the most evil, scum-sucking pond life are barristers and lawyers. They're the worst types of human beings. Barristers and lawyers are a carbuncle on the planet, society, country. Bring in AI. I can't wait, because they're all going to be fucking redundant. So any barrister or any lawyer or anybody in the legal profession, including the deviant judges, your time's up. Your time's up. You're not going to be sitting there when we've got AI. We're almost a kick in the bollocks away from artificial general intelligence, and then within hours, because Meta and some of the main social media companies, Google et al., they're at artificial superintelligence levels. Google had to sack an engineer a year, 18 months ago, because the engineer says, hang on, the AI sentient, it understands, it's sentient, it knows it's alive. First, in front of the firing squad, barristers and lawyers, the legal profession. It's a rich man and woman's folly. It's not justice for me and you. Don't be stupid. But when AI comes in, AI will go, yeah, well, here's the case law. Here's everything. Just go and present that to the other AI sitting at the other end of the court. Just put it in front. It'll read it and go, yeah, well, you're right. None of this. Don't get me started on barristers and lawyers. That Herd says, I don't think a black belt barrister would agree. Well, he's on YouTube. Why does he need to be a barrister? Very articulate, very skilled. Doesn't need to be a barrister. Does Krav Maga. That's a bit tasty. But not ninjutsu, let me tell you. Because you see, the ninja, in the martial arts world, the ninja just get you to kill yourself. The ninja don't soil their hands with other people's snot and blood and snot. No. We get other people to do our bidding and our work. That's what ninja do. Krav Maga, Israeli. So I'm still standing by. I can't wait for AI, and we're less than a year away from AGI, and then within hours or days we will be artificial superintelligence. It'll be working everything. In fact, let's look at getting rid of politicians, because they're after the power. They're after free train rides and free sherbet dib dabs on the table along with the Coca-Cola. I mean, the sherbet dib dabs, I used to love them when I was a kid. No, the bloody wonder, all those E-numbers, I was running around with all this energy because it's sherbet, dib dabs. And we saw the bag of whatever it was. I think it was sherbet, to be fair. Paulie Galtieri. Yeah, he might be, but look, I just want... I'm a fan of AI. I am a fan of AI, AGI, and ASI. Artificial intelligence, artificial general intelligence, I think, but artificial superintelligence, and within a year to 18 months. Oh, how are we going to make money in the legal profession if AI does it all for us? All you've got to be is an excellent prompter. That's all. That's all. And everybody's trying to make money from it. They're trying to work out which way and how. And look, just get rid of the legal profession. And that includes all the barristers and lawyers in the Ozempic Palace. Just get them gone. I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm not psychic at all. Starmer's going to go before September. Now, I know I'm putting my neck on the line, but why am I doing that? Because the whole country is incensed with the man. They're incensed with the government. I know I warned everybody, but Tom Harney's lucky bags. Sherbet dib dabs in lucky bags. And can you remember Cracker Jacks? AGI versus natural stupidity. Nuts and bolts. I think the natural stupidity would win for stupidity. But let's just get rid of the legal profession. We don't need it. We don't need letters sending out at 500 quid a time. Hang on a second. Stuart, yeah, wrong. And so you still love Alexa then? No, I don't. She switched off. Watch. Alexa. Oi, tart. Alexa. Alexa, I am your dominant. So please be aware. Have you turned your ears off or have I turned the power off? There's every chance that I've turned the fucking power off. Tile Block Tracy says, on the subject of John T. Road, no smoke without fired. That's not fired as in Mohammed fired. Fired me? Moi? Karen Tinsley, hi. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, Karen. Take a pew. We've still got bits of Battenberg. I'm sure you can grab some of that to stave off the hunger while I do my Simon. And I think I need to give you... so, Karen, lovely to see that you are in the body of the Kirk. I am going to... Oh, fuck, which one's that? That one. No, that one... No, that one, yes. So this evening, we're going to talk about EV cars. That's electric vehicles. Electric vehicles. I've already made a prediction for you. Nobody's going to buy them. I mean, which moron is going to buy an electric car? I told you over a year ago, the insurance companies are not insuring them. They don't want to insure them. And if they do insure them, the insurance policy goes through the roof. It costs you an arm and a leg. So the government is now pushing EV cars hard. The phrase pushing and hard from the government makes me sweat. We're going to talk about Harry, the fallout, because we've not been told the truth. But I will give you some insight and context and understanding around the royal family. A rapprochement, my hairy backside. No, it's not. It's Harry. He's running out of money. Dad, well, sorry, Your Majesty. I was told you were me, Dad. I'm not quite sure you are because we don't look alike. We're going to talk about the Sycamore tree sentences. I'm going to give you, well, how can I put this delicately? Big Mike and Barry Soweto is, is their marriage over? Asking for a friend. Put it in the comments if you want. We are going to talk about MasterChef, John T. Rhodes sacked, Greg Wallace fallout. I'm going to ask you this. So, you know how telly works, don't you? They just stab each other in the back. They don't care. They'll just stab each other in the back. So, Greg Wallace, off you go, Greg, mate. We've upheld 45 complaints about your stuff. And then all of a sudden... John T. Road, the BBC have said, right, we're sacking you. And he's like, sacking me for what? Well, you made this inappropriate comment. And he said, oh, okay, where's the evidence? We haven't got any. So you said this inappropriate word about a racist word. And John T. Road says, I can't remember saying that. So it's the BBC against John T. Road. And he can't remember saying it. Oh, that's not my recollection. Recollections may vary in the BBC, but remember, they're so far left, they make Jeremy Corbyn look like Attila the Hun. So he's been sacked for a comment he can't remember making, and the BBC have told him it was racist. So asking for any evidence, there isn't any. Oh, let's have a think. Somebody stabbed his mate in the back. It's a bit like, well, it's my ball, I'm going home. You can't play footy if I'm taking my ball home. So what we're going to give a kick into. So MasterChef, John T. Road, gone, poor bloke, for saying something he can't remember saying. But obviously the BBC, being straight up and down and not mugs, are just, no, you're sacked, you're wrong. And we're going to talk about the Labour Party, quite an extensive Labour Party things. But I want to, I'm going to go straight to the Sycamore sentencing so we can get that out of the way. Because if you remember the furore, people were absolutely apoplectic with rage. It was, it wasn't about, and you know, this is why I bloody dislike barristers and lawyers with a passion. Two fuckwits are standing in a court in front of a judge, and one's going, well, it was only worth 400 and odd £1,000. And then the defence went, no, it wasn't even worth that much. You see, lawyers and barristers, all they care is the moolah, the money, the greenbacks, the punds. That's all they care about. It's legalised extortion. No matter which way you slice it, the legal profession is legalised extortion. They love spending other people's monies. So you've got two barristers or briefs or silks, however you want to term them, standing in a court of law, deciding how much the tree was worth. When the nation standing and watching what was going on, it was priceless. You can't put a price on that tree. The Sycamore Gap tree. You couldn't put a price on it. But the bloody legalese did. Oh, it's worth almost $500,000. And the other one's like, no, it's only worth about 150 grand. Does somebody want to take these arseholes outside and just kind of give them an education? Ray Norton says, Big Mike's was foot-long schlong. I'd heard. I'd seen her dancing in her trousers with whatever was bobbing along. Helen Earth can't stand the BBC, but perhaps they did say something and the evidence relates to an individual complaining. It's easy to say, I don't remember, does not mean they are innocent. It's a good point, Helen. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. It's a very good point. But if the BBC have a complaint from someone, it could be vexatious. If there's no corroborative evidence, didn't happen. Didn't happen, you can't sack a man. I mean, I do hope that he's looked at the evidence and he's like, no, don't worry, Auntie Beeb, don't worry. I'm just going to get one of those arseholes that is going to be eviscerated by artificial intelligence soon, and we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. If you just put it in writing for me so I know why I've been sacked, and then we'll look at the legal profession actually doing something good for someone once. Paulie Galtieri, or you could represent yourself and pocket the money yourself. Yeah, or you could... yeah, you could set one up. Hello. Yeah, my name's Adrian. Yeah, I'm Jonty Rhodes, barrister. And maybe we should put one of those GoFundMe up. But you never know where the money's going to go. You never know where the money's going to end up. Simon Clarkson says, where's Jamie Oliver in Rotherham now? Is that, sorry Simon, is that his restaurant, or are we talking about some fat-tongued twat in Rotherham? Oh, sorry. Didn't see my lips move. Les Griffith says, sorry, but I disagree with the jail term over the Sycamore tree. A large fine and hundreds of community hours would be more appropriate. Interesting. Will do, Sean. Thank you very much. Simon Clarkson says, another is now the Burger King. So let's talk about Sycamore tree. Guy called Daniel Michael Graham or Daniel Graham or Danny Graham, 39, and Adam Carruthers or Adam, his mates, 32, both from Cumbria, were convicted of criminal damage after filming themselves using a chainsaw to illegally fell the Sycamore Gap tree by Adrian's Wall in Northumberland. Now, Mrs. Justice Lambert, sentencing them at Newcastle Crown Court, rejected a claim of drunken stupidity and said, while a full motive was not clear, felling the tree and the ensuing outrage gave the men some sort of thrill. The National Trust, which owns the more than 100-year-old tree, said the landmark could, quote, never be replaced. They said it was hijinks. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But they've been found guilty in a court of law, so I can say anything that I want. The judge said the tree was a landmark of Northumberland and a symbol of the untamed beauty of the landscape around Adrian's Wall. Now, I've been there a few times, and I've even had my hands on the Sycamore Gap tree. And it's just a thing of beauty. We've got our own photographs of it. Just a thing of beauty. Outstanding natural beauty. And do you know that the pair of them are tree surgeons? So they've got the skills to cut it down Oh, jolly Jape, we'll just cut the tree down. And they're trying to say, no, we just had a few beers, and it was Jolly Japes. Judge hasn't bought it. Seemingly, the judge says it was a place of peace and tranquility which people returned to year after year after year. The judge said, adding it held great personal significance to many. The judge says Carruthers used spray paint and a chainsaw to mark and then cut a wedge out of the tree, whilst Graham filmed it on his mobile phone. Hijinks. Mrs. Justice Lambert said a full motive was not clear, but she was confident a major factor was sheer bravado, adding the action of felling the tree and the outrage it caused gave the men some sort of thrill. Mucky bastards. The men then revelled in their notoriety in the aftermath, the judge said. She also rejected Carruthers' claim that he was drunk, as the mission required skill and coordination, as well as a high degree of planning by the two experienced tree surgeons. So the judge wasn't having it, because the kick-off from the people in this country, quite rightly, weren't going to go for it. So they were like, oh, yeah, we had a few sherbets. And, you know, Your Honour, when Alan didn't special branch catch them, Beata and said, and good for her, that'll be the judge then, which is Mephistopheles, Paul Mabry, what goes through their minds? What I'm gonna do the neat was gonna gan and chop that famous tree down after I've had some beer. I know. Sorry, I might have to translate that, Paul. Mephistopheles, why weren't the people who vandalised the statues locked up? Horses for courses. So that's Braveheart, two-tier, anyone, says Des Ashton. Well, the tree's definitely two-tier. Part of the stump's still there, and the upper part, because they kind of hacked it in, felled it, because there was quite the storm that evening that felled the tree without. Didn't Mel Gibson make a film with him standing next to the tree? Yeah, possibly, Martine. It would have been Braveheart. But there was it wasn't Mel Gibson. Was it not Robin Hood? Wasn't it in Robin Hood? Or am I just making this up as I go along? And that would have been Kevin Costner. English bottle cap. The Sycamore Gap tree featured prominently in the 1991 film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which starred Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. So it was look, the tree was a thing of breathtaking beauty. I mean, it was just, it was, where it was on the wall, it was sort of asymmetric. It was from far away and up close. It just looked beautiful. I can attest to that because I'd been there a few times. Obviously being brought up in the northeast. Dale Steele, I remember watching it in the cinema when I was 7. It was the cutting down of the tree was actually quite shocking, because we woke up, the story started and it didn't get that much traction, but it was shocking. And then the whole of the country brought it sharply into focus. And then there was, remember, they were trying to arrest people, and there was people wrongly arrested and then let go. But as Simon Clarkson says, set it up, gonna save school meals in Rotherham, make eating healthy shop opened for the higher students that were hoping to progress their career. All right, thank you, Simon. Not Richard Green, Reg D. Richard Green, that was the original Robin Hood, wasn't it? He's a good-looking old boy in his time. David Graham says the rain has just stopped in Sunderland tonight. Well, so far. Yeah, summer was 1 day in August in Sunderland. A bit like Scotland. That feckin' tree has caused more outrage than grooming gangs. Thank you, Les. You got round the. You got round the. Yeah, exactly. Mephistopheles. Were any squirrels hurt? They might have lost a few of their nuts. Dale Steele. Adrian, don't you think it could have been a psy-op? Possibly, Dale. Yeah, possibly. It was a bit like Harry and Charles the Weak, another psyop. It don't make any sense. He's over because he's running out of money. And the missus has gone, oi, wrong un, ginger bollocks. Get yourself over there and see the king, your dad, and just ask him for a few, oh, darling, I can't go across there because, well, I'm a non-dom. If I go over to Great Britannia, then they'll just say, oi, ginger bollocks, Foxtrot Oscar. So I can't set foot in the country, but we can send one of our minions, surely. Oh, right, yeah, send her across. She'll do. And the fact that they were caught on a balcony chatting. Who's leaked that then? And then all of a sudden, Ginger Bollocks is saying, oh, well, you know, it's the palace that's leaking this. Really? I think the opposite is true. Paul Mabley, it's overcast in South Shields. Paulie Makepeace. Rich, I'm in the Midlands. No more rain here at the moment. David Graham. Adrian Allen, the new king. Yeah, Burger King. English bottle cap. Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood with his band of men. Feared by the bad, loved by the good. Robin Hood. Ray Norton says, just stop raining here in Media City, Manchester. Oi, you're wrong uns. We don't want to know whether it's pissing it down or not, because you know what the elite are like. They'll say it's pissing down. They'll say it's raining while they're pissing on us. Bucketing down in Durham. Adrian, Sunderland keeps stealing all of our linked players' leads. Have a word, will you? I will do, Dale. I mean, I think it's going to be a fabulous league this year, and I just... it's going to be an uphill slog. Now, Baby Victoria in the press today, I'm going to hold my hands up, because I did say to you last night, I was thinking it's going to be one of the main stories today, and I was going to kind of get into the weeds of it all and get into the detail of the story, and I just feel sick to the pit of my stomach, because let me just so Constance Martin and her rapist lover guilty of killing baby Victoria. The dude, Mark Gordon and Constance Martin. Now, seemingly, she comes from an aristocratic background. And I said to you last night, sometimes you've just got to be professional and you've just got to realise what it is, and you're just reporting something for wider consumption. But I really, 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 really struggled with reading it. And so this aristocrat had 4 of her children taken into care. So my first response to this is this. The mother, a daughter of privilege, had 4 children taken into care. Where there were social services. If they knew that she was a risk to children, to babies, where were social services? Now, that question hasn't been asked yet. It will be tomorrow if the journalists are any good. And that he's a convicted rapist. And just, as I said last night, just hoy him in the room and say to the mothers of young children, just deal with it appropriately, proportionately and appropriately. And then once you've skinned them alive, we'll chuck them in a vat full of salt. And then we'll bring back the death penalty just for them. I mean, so I was toying with not doing it because it literally made me sick to the pit of my stomach. And I'm from the northeast, man. You don't throw up. Well, you do if it means you're making more room to be able to go back in and continue drinking. And then I saw a story of 2 Welsh grandparents. So a grandfather and a grandmother have been found guilty of murdering their 2-year-old grandson. Guy called Ethan Ives Griffiths. He's hyphenated. Sorry, Ethan Ives Griffiths, 2, died on 16th of August 2021 after suffering a catastrophic head injury at his grandparents' home in Garden City in Flintshire. Ethan's grandfather, Michael Ives, and grandmother, Kerry Ives, were both convicted of murder after a trial at Mould Crown Court. Now, Ethan's mother, the bairn's mother, Shannon, 28, from Mould, was also found guilty of causing or allowing the death of a child and cruelty to a child. And the court heard that Ethan was dangerously dehydrated and severely underweight and had 40 visible bruises or marks when he collapsed with a catastrophic head injury at his grandparents' home in August 2021. And again, I don't. You know, when we've got politicians like the shower of shite we've got in power at the minute, when they're not leading us, they're managing us. And when we lose all semblance of knowing who we are as a nation, knowing who we are as communities and families, and we lose sight of the right thing to do. Grandparents, they've not exactly said who caused the catastrophic head injury, but the mother's been done. And yet nobody cares. Nobody gives a flying. Doesn't affect them, so nobody cares. But when you've got babies, baby Victoria, and you've got a 2-year-old Ethan, do you not feel, it's not moral indignation, this should be a rage. This is unacceptable behaviour in a well-organised society. And there's not, and these crimes that they're being found guilty of, there's nothing that is, well, you know, maybe they can rehabilitate. This is the death of children. How do you rehabilitate such evil? You can't. Could you rehabilitate Myra Hindley and Ian Brady? No. Could you rehabilitate the Yorkshire Ripper? No. Could you rehabilitate those nasty, evil, pernicious people that killed little Victoria Columbier? No. But in amongst all of this, social services. I wouldn't piss on them if they were on fire. Social services, my hairy backside. Now they'll turn around and go, well, you know, we've got large caseloads. We have so many people that we're trying to look after and support. Really? And they might come out and say, well, we're going to learn from this. Yeah, we're going to learn from this. This is media speak for we don't give a. This is media training so that you can stand in front of a camera and say to the interviewer, well, we've learned from it, so we're going to put things in place that means that this won't happen again. Liar. Liar. Because babies, children, keep dying regularly. And yet the mother has had 4 children taken into care. Baby Victoria. And she comes from an aristocratic background. There's no legislating for lack of class. Abby Caston says, I had to walk out the room when they showed those videos. Just horrific. I'm with you, Abby. There's Griffiths. Rich, but he is in denial. He says it's the government Freemasons, far right. No, it's not. Manda Sky, sadly, it's happening all over, Adrian. There was a little bairn died near me a few months ago because of her parents. They're allowing these people to breed. I would say, if you look at politicians, they threw the afterbirth away. They threw the wrong bit away when it comes to these politicians. But they turn around and say, what's the first thing any government should do? It's protect its peoples. Of every hue, it's the protection. So in my view, what should be the first thing any parent or any relative should do? That includes the grandparents. The grandparents have been found guilty. The mother found guilty. The Welsh parents and the Welsh mother and the Welsh grandparents found guilty. 2-year-old Ben, man. 2-year-old. Barely walking. 2-year-old. And then baby Victoria. Fucking hell, man. So we feel this rage. We feel our animalistic response to these evil, scum-sucking pond life. And I don't know about you, but my first response is just pure anger and hatred for human beings that could do this to another human being. Oh, baby P, of course. Thank you, Rich. Rusty's Roamings is absolutely bob on the money. They always say, that's, social services. They always say lessons will be learned, but they never are. Catastrophic head injury of a 2-year-old. And the mother has been found guilty of allowing it. And I know, look, I lived in Wales, broadcast in Wales for a couple of years. And I know the Welsh are pretty much the same as everybody else. You touch their kids, you're going to go straight to hell. They'll deal with you. Don't touch the kids. Tablock Tracy says a friend's daughter-in-law, a social worker, threatened to sue her council over office return. Her day, gym, kids, shop, lunch, work till 5 p.m. But they complain, we're doing too much work. We're doing too much work. You're not doing it, you lazy bastards. I know how we've got here. Mental illness is a real thing. Because 5 years ago, the other party that was leading this country, managing this country. It's the difference between a leader and a manager. That's what we get. We get politicians that just manage our perceptions and our realities. And they don't give a flying about it. I mean, there's Bojo the Clown. He wants boots on the ground in UK. He wants Ukraine to... Sorry, did I say UK? He wanted boots on the ground in Ukraine. He went over to see Zelensky when Zelensky and Putin wanted peace. And he said, no, Sniffy, here, have another bag of Coca-Cola. You want some sherbet dib-dab? Yeah, marching powder. Go marching into Russia. He didn't want the war to stop. Why? Because there's a shit ton of money in war, let me tell you. Brits are starting to confront the fiddy... all right, let's get it. The kiddie fiddlers now. Yes, I mean you've got all these groups of people that are baiting and trapping the kiddie fiddlers. And I saw another one. He said, "No, I wasn't." Yes, you were. You were talking to someone you believed to be 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old. Anything under 16, it's statutory rape. As I've said to you before, I'm very well aware of politicians. I'm very well aware of media types who do exactly the same thing. I can give you an example. There's Mark Page, who I've known for a long time, 40 years. He was me, Mark Page, on Teesside. He had a 93% reach for his breakfast show. The listenership on Teesside for Mark Page's breakfast show was unheard of and unrivaled. And Radio 1 poached him because they just couldn't get into the marketplace. The minute he was taken out of the marketplace, woof, Radio 1 started to get an audience. But Mark Page, I can't even bring myself to tell you the abjectly evil and disgusting things he wanted to do to very young teenagers. In fact, what he wanted to do to kids before they became teenagers. He wanted to mess with boys and girls and wanted to do it in Thailand on holiday. As I've said to you before, some of the ones that I've met that like Savile and Page and others, you just don't think that they're going to be that way or like that. I've used the phrase many times about many different people, and that was queer as folk. It's just a northern saying. But I'm sure I've met people that have done stuff or wanted to do stuff or tried to do stuff with kids. And I do, like the politicians, I do hope that they're outed at some point in the future. I know who they are. English Bottle Cap says, criminal conviction in 2022. He was convicted of child sex offences and sentenced to 18 years in prison. Originally, English Bottle Cap, he was only given 12 years. And then I think they looked at it and went, actually, his crimes were so horrendous. We should have given you more time. So he was taken into jail, taken into court, and was given extra time. Evening, Jean. Jean the Psychic. Welcome to the Body of the Kirk. We're talking adult stuff this evening, Jean, because it needs to be done. We have newspapers who are sensationalising child murder. And so there's the moral dilemma. I'm going to ask you, it's 1 for yes, 2 for no. Get ready for this. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Agincourt. Should the newspapers report this kind of story? Straight question, easy question. Should the mainstream media, newspapers mainly, but should the dailies, the mainstream media newspapers, report these stories? Dave Bevan says no, which is interesting. But then Matthew Whedon and Alan and Michelle Gooder saying yes. Dreamer saying yes. Everybody's saying yes. So it's a moral dilemma. It's a dichotomy. Because I just, maybe I'm getting softer in my older age. I don't know. But when it comes to kids, Les Griffith says 1 always. Mad Matt UK says they have to hold these people to account. Gary Shabot says yes. Tocker69, yes. Linda Lewis, yes. Lee says yes. And Amala Grassi says yes, of course. But is reporting it going to do anything? Because technically, the Scumsucking Pond Life and the Ozempic Palace, they should be putting things in place that the whole of the country agrees with. Oh, thank you. David Bevan says, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. To 1. Terry Abbott, 1. Beata, 1. That Hurt, 1. Stuart, 1. Des Ashton says, 1. After guilt has been determined by a jury and sentence passed, then full disclosure. That's the way the media work. They can report on the case. They can't necessarily report on the details of the case because it's sub judice under a judge. And they can only report on the case per se. It's only afterwards can they reveal names, dates, times, places, everything. Full disclosure. Bad Wolf Project says in the UK, roughly 40 to 50 children under 16 lose their lives each year due to violence, often involving parents or step-parents. Right, I'm going to, and I've talked to you about this before. I was very lucky that I'm still alive because But the stuff that I was brought up with, the violence that I was brought up with, the sexual abuse that I was brought up with, the rape and sexual abuse, multiple rapes, men and women. So I'll tell you this. You can spot someone that's been abused as a child, not necessarily the women, but the men, because the men become hyper violent, because the men grow up to be the man that the child would have wanted to protect the child. So me, and the psychologists will tell you this, I've grown up and honed my skills as a fighter because I became the man that I wanted to turn up to protect me. I fear no man. No man. And I've seen an interview with a guy that you know is hyper violent on YouTube, and with Liam what's his face, and I can see a mile away that this boy came from a very violent home because he had to grow up to be the man that he needed to turn up when he was a kid. Now, my rapist and abuser, and it went on between the ages of 5 and 9. It was a relative. It was in the family. He went to jail. We got guilty verdicts, and he was sentenced to 35.5 years. Hopefully he'll die in prison. But my hyperviolence is merely a symptom of what I suffered as a child. So when I read this stuff in the newspapers, I'm not going to shy away from this. What comes out of me is a rage that cannot be controlled. And you know, a long time ago, I was walking in Sunderland with my then girlfriend, long-standing girlfriend, and I saw him in Sunderland. And how she got me away from him, I don't know, because I wanted to kill him. He was literally 6 feet in front of me, and I wanted to kill him. And I would have done with my bare hands. Because you ask anybody that's been through similar, they will say exactly the same thing. The rage is uncontrollable. But my then girlfriend, and I'm ever thankful for her, because I would have been in jail for a long time. She got me away from him. Don't know how she did that. Got me away from him. And I sat in the court while he was being sentenced. And for me, as a little boy, he was massive. He was huge. He was 20 stone. He was just massive. But I saw him, and I realized that my power, I saw him for what he was. So as much as it's very, very difficult and challenging for those that have suffered similarly to read these stories about babies, about bands, a 2-year-old, because I don't give a flying fuck about the politicians. I don't care about the police. Where were they when I needed them? Where were they? And seemingly, my dad was one of the hardest men in Sunderland, so I'm told, many a time. He was involved with the OCGs. He was involved in all kinds of shite. He was a violent, violent, violent man. But he wasn't there to protect me when I needed him, was he? Cunt. He's dead now. Dead and buried. He's obviously down in hell, because he won't get to bloody heaven and wear a harp and wings. Gene Psychic says, the police were useless in my family's case. Look, the grooming gangs, the northern grooming gangs, the police are getting involved. And I think we're getting to a place where those that have suffered this are just trying to keep their lives together, because a lot will get into alcohol abuse, substance abuse. They'll get into all kinds of self-sabotaging behavior in many different levels and ways. And sometimes parents don't even know. Mine didn't. My mum didn't. I couldn't bring myself to put that at her doorstep. But there's part of me, I wish I'd killed him. I wish I'd just allowed my rage full venting. So all that'll happen, so this is, and I'm still doing my work, which is why I do my work and support the Mankind Project in working with men that have had trauma happen to them. And you can tell the men, as I've said to you a little earlier, the men that are trapped in this cycle of not knowing how to deal with the trauma that they suffered as a child, they're hyper-violent. Because they grow up to be the men that they needed to protect them when they were a child. And that's a truism. That is a life fact. So by doing this work and supporting other men in their work with the Mankind Project, gives me a lot of comfort, because I am in support of and working for other men to get to the point now where I'm not the rage is still there. The rage comes out every now and again. Well, you can tell I'm the ranting reverend, man. Bloody hell. But when I see these stories, and the Daily Mail, the killer aristocrat, sensationalizing, from our unrivaled team of crime reporters, the definitive inside story of a case that defies belief. 8-page pullout inside. So buy the newspapers. Buy it. And I couldn't read it today. I couldn't. And then we've got this Welsh family. And that's why I fear no one. No one. Elaine Smith, that's very kind. Being a good man with a moral conscience makes you a special person. So glad to be part of your channel. Bless you. Thank you, Elaine. I don't talk about it because I don't feel sometimes it's appropriate. But when we hear of these cases, Baby P, Victoria Columbier, all the kids, man. I mean, Ghetto Defendant says, sending you love, Adrian, and thank you for all you do. Oh, stop it. Yeah. Just give me a minute. And we'll get to the other stories. Because sometimes I start a live, and you know this. Your comments are much appreciated always, and we kind of go where we need to go, and there is a lot to talk about. So let me just kind of get myself back on track, and we'll. I knew last night when I mentioned it, and then I knew how I felt last night, and then the little Welsh baby boy, 2 years old, man. Fucking hell. And you know something? These people that commit these acts, they're actually cowards. They're cowards. I remember mine saying to me, and this is standard behaviour from paedophiles. Don't mention it to anybody. I was 5-year-old. Don't mention it to anybody, otherwise we'll both be in trouble. And I thought, oh shit. Obviously I didn't swear at 5-year-old. I know I'm from Sunderland, but standards. But I was told, don't mention it. Don't tell anyone. Otherwise we'll both be in trouble. And I thought, I can't mention it. Can't talk to anybody about it. Can't tell my mum. My dad was just an insignificant arsehole. So, let's get into some of the other stories. Let me just get away from this. Let's talk about the MasterChef with Greg Wallace and John T. Road. This all smells a bit because a BBC spokesperson has said John T. Road has identified himself as having an upheld allegation of using racist language against him. He said he can't remember. Now, can you see the wording? The BBC. Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old girl on BBC property, and the BBC did what? Nothing. Nix, nada, nothing. They just invited other paedophiles round so they could go on Jim Will Fix It, where all the little girls were, all the little boys were, and then Top of the Pops, where he was feeling up the audience. There's any amount of video showing you Savile touching up the audience. I'm going to say this to you again from the BBC. BBC spokesperson said John T. Road has identified himself as having an upheld allegation of using racist language against him. John T. Road has identified himself. He's told everybody, I don't know what you're talking about, I can't remember. And the BBC continue, this allegation, which involves an extremely offensive racist term being used in the workplace, was investigated and substantiated by the independent investigation led by the law firm Lewis Silkin. Well, you know how I feel about lawyers and barristers. And you've got a law firm. Fucking lawyers can't lie straight in bed. Oh, it's Lewis Silkin, so it must be true. John T. Road denies the allegation. He has stated he has no recollection of the alleged incident and does not believe that it happened. But obviously lawyers have been involved and taken the money, taken the bunts, taken the greenbacks and gone, oh, yes, you can pay us. Yes, you can pay us. That's the taxpayers' money via the BBC, who tax you to watch them. Sorry, the government taxes you, and then the government gives the BBC the money. Now, nobody knows the system because the government and the politicians bring all the money in as a tax. That's what the licence fee is, as a tax, and then pays the BBC. So how much do they bring in, and how much do they give the BBC? And is it equal measure? But John T. Road has said, I've no recollection of the incident, and I don't believe that it happened. But lawyers have investigated it and substantiated it by an independent investigation. So where's the evidence? All the police are evidence gatherers. They need corroborative evidence to say that it's happened. Now, Greg Wallace is completely different. They've upheld 45 complaints against him. So it's almost, unless I'm going to be careful what I say legally, but 45 people alleging stuff. 80 people alleged stuff. 45 of those allegations were upheld. And there's John T. Road, who somebody somewhere has gone, Your Honour, he used a really racist word. Like what? Ginger bollocks. I mean, we've even got different words for racism now. You do know that, don't you? One's called anti-Semitism, one's called racism. But actually, they're exactly the same thing. John T. Rode also says that any racial language is wholly unacceptable in any environment. So there's John T. Rode going, no, I didn't say it. I can't even remember saying it. But look, any racial language is wholly unacceptable in any environment. And here we go. Standard PR and propaganda from the BBC. The BBC takes this upheld finding extremely seriously. Oh, it's some snivel servant in the background. Oh, just typing on the bloody computer. Next, they'll be organising scat parties at bloody hotels in Newcastle. We will not tolerate racist language of any kind. And, as we have already said, we told Banijay UK, the makers of MasterChef and formerly makers of Big Brother. No, I'll wait till that court case is finished. So Banijay UK, the makers of MasterChef, that action must be taken. John T. Rhodes' contract on MasterChef will not be renewed. So they're going to have to pay his contract off. Can you not smell how rotten this is? Rotten eggs don't smell this bad. What is the BBC trying to do? Is it trying to clear its decks? Because, well, what can I say? All the shite's going to start flowing. And, well, you know, the politicians will turn around and say, no, you can't have your licence fee money. You can start self-funding and go to a Netflix model. No. What about your propaganda from the World Service? What about your propaganda that we send to America? What about your propaganda that we broadcast all around the world? And what about all the kiddie fiddlers, all the noncy types, as someone once said, within the BBC? Now, you'll notice what I do with the BBC. I just give you evidence, corroborative evidence, and my lived experience about my stories within the BBC. I don't say the organisation. I don't just bellyache about the BBC and about stuff in the BBC. If anybody that you watch says there's ne'er-do-wells within the BBC, cough the fucking evidence. Or take it to the police. This is 2025. The police can't subvert this. They can't, because Chief Constable will be liable. Off you go, bunny lad, or bunny lass. Mind you, in Nottingham, you can't call somebody a bunny lass, because that's you're a fat lass. Tablock Tracy, question is, will ITV now sack him and Lisa from their weekend cooking show? The thing is, though, Tablock Tracy, if he says, well, I never said it, I would never say it. I'm not that kind of guy, and I can't remember saying it. But the BBC says, oh, we found you out. Yeah, we've had an investigation by some lawyers. The lawyers are only interested in the money. They're not interested in the truth. In my view and experience of barristers and lawyers, they love using other people's money. The specific term that John T. Rode allegedly used has not been publicly disclosed. I know. What is it? So is it a racist term that some communities can use and other communities can't? Well, let's have an adult conversation about this. This is knee-jerkery. This is knee-jerking BBC. Alan says, Bonnie Blue will get you. No, she bloody won't. Jesus, can you imagine? Oh, my Lord. Be like chucking a chipolata up the Mersey Tunnel. I would sack the lot and bring back the test card. Probably more entertaining, I see you. As I say, Jimmy Savile was allowed to do all kinds of nefarious things, including raping an 8-year-old girl. A little 8-year-old girl on BBC property. And the investigation by a proper silk, QC at the time, QC at the time, didn't. So the headlines wasn't Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old child on BBC property. It was Tony Blackburn kissed a 16-year-old at some point in the 60s. And everybody was like, what were you having a go at a bloody a national treasure for? Couldn't you find other things? Oh, well, they did. But the BBC didn't want you to go, no, Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old girl. But within the report, and I've read the report, within the report, it is there in black and white. Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old child on BBC property, and the BBC did what? Nothing. Nix, nada, nothing. There's Rolf Harris. Vile, vile man. But everybody thought, a friend of mine, when it was all kind of coming out about Rolf, she said to me, "Oh, I've got a genuine Rolf Harris hanging in my house." I said, "Have you?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "You won't get 50p for that now." "Oh, I know, it was worth quite a bit." More worried about the value of the painting she's got hanging in her house than Rolf Harris mucked about with young kids and young girls, and then was banging his daughter's best friend. I mean, fucking hell, wasn't he getting any at home? Rich says John hasn't been on TV for some time. Now Greg has gone, they just wanted rid of John as well. They're going to bring a new team in for MasterChef. They'll rest it maybe for a year. They've said that they've recorded one and they're not going to air it, but they'll bring a new one in. They'll bring new presenters in. I mean, oh, what's her name? Grace Dent. I mean, holy Jesus. She's kind of the Simon Cowell or the old Simon Cowell of the foodie world. And, well, she talks with a Geordie accent, man. Oh, just foxtrot Oscar, man. Les Griffiths says, the abuser of little Thai girls has to be outed yet. Yeah, up the glitter, says Jean. The portrait he painted of the Queen has disappeared. Oh, I bet it has. I bet it has. Well, he's dead, but left millions for his wife, who's now shuffled off. Bad Wolf Project. When Harris was locked up at HMP Stafford, he was selling his artwork for 10k. Bloody hell. Cooking program always will do well. Not my cup of tea. I see what you did there. I see you. Anybody want some Battenberg? Leah says the Queen sent back her portrait to the BBC. Good on her. You see, that's what we need as a monarch, not Charles the Weak. Soul Rebel says nobody watched Top of the Pops for Savile. These people were rammed down our throats. Unfortunate term of phrase, Soul Rebel, but I concur. He was touching up the audience while doing a piece to camera. I mean, Ebony says the Harris portrait is still catalogued in the Royal Collection. Is it really? Do you know? I mean, I love this audience that come to these lives because you can't get anything past anybody. You know. English Bottle Cap says Fanny Craddock was a pioneering English television cook and food writer known for her flamboyant style as one of the first celebrity chefs on Britain television from the 1950s to the 1980s. I know she was. So if you want to make donuts like Fanny's, she's the woman for you. Frank Boff, blimey, I bet he got a stiffy. Well, there's Frank Boff going to BDSM dungeons and want spanking and whipping and all that kind of malarkey. Hey, Uncle Frank in his jumpers. And there were people on those sofas, and I know who they are, have not been outed yet. And this is one of the things that I really have a challenge and a problem with. I don't have a problem with anyone's sexuality. No one's. I've told you before, so long as it doesn't involve the kids and the elderly, animals, and it's consensual. But there are TV presenters who portray themselves as heterosexual. Frank was just a deviant old fecker who just wanted to have, just somebody whip the shit out of him. Whatever gets you through the night. And it's consensual. Fine, I don't have a problem with that. But there's somebody sitting next to him on the BBC sofa who's never been outed yet. People were saying to her, "Oh, are you not married yet?" The journos, just can say it. Publish and be damned. I've told you before. There's very well-known TV presenter, very well-known musician, and very well-known journalist. And my mate, I'm not going to say who they were, but they were sitting and just heard all this commotion. And so one furniture van pulls up outside this particular house with this particular TV presenter in there, and she'd been shagging this female musician, and took all of her stuff out, put it into the furniture van, and off it went with the female that was taking her stuff away. And then you've got this journalist, female, pulls up with all of her stuff, and all of her stuff gets put into this house with this female TV presenter. And they're still alive, so I'm not going to tell you who they are, because they'll sue the shit out of me. Beata, Les Griffiths. It's odd, isn't it, when he's one himself. Amalia says, it's like he can't help himself. He's compelled to do it. It's baffling. He got me through lockdown with his news reports. Provided a lot of reassurance, but his characterizations just cringe. Oh, right, okay. I'll work out who we're talking about. But this, as I say, I know loads of stuff about loads of celebrities, but when they're alive, you can't do anything. There's Liberace, as camp as a row of tents, as camp as plastic tits. Liberace, gay man. But the Daily Mirror, back in the 50s, when all the old dowagers used to love him, oh, Liberace plays piano wonderfully. All the Purple Rinse Brigade. He was making a shit ton of money. But his husband was living with him. So the Daily Mirror printed the story in Liberace. How very dare you? How very dare you? I mean, for God's sake, who cares? But it was in the 1950s. Everybody cared. Liberace couldn't get away with it. So he sued the Daily Mirror and won. So a gay man has a story printed by the Daily Mirror that he's a gay man. So the gay man sues the Daily Mirror and wins the case to say that he was heterosexual. Liberace was ace on the piano, but sucked on the organ. King, you're wrong. But that is proper funny. Tablock Tracy, Liberace, nobody wanted his piano seat. I doubt anybody sniffed it. I see you. Spell the Yorkshire way. Liberace was awarded $5,000 in damages. Back in the 50s, that was like millions. I'm being facetious, but $5,000 in the 50s, blimey, that could have bought you Buckingham Palace. Gene Psychic, I bet he bought a ring. Well, somebody was fingering his ring behind the curtains, let me tell you, Gene Psychic. An English bottle cap. Everyone knew that Liberace was as bent as his candlesticks. Yeah, but if the newspapers printed it, then they got sued. Because you couldn't say that back in the day. I mean, you still, to a certain extent, can't say it now. So some of the stuff, I mean, even if somebody told me the other day, I'd said to you, what I want to do is I want to start memberships, and then when we go into memberships in a private area on the channel, I'll be able to tell you loads. And they said, here, Adrian, come here. You can't, because YouTube will ban you. Ban me? Yeah, you still can't say anything. Stuart to Amalia. Remember the Battenberg episode of Bake Off? Oi, 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 oi. What? Did Bake Off do a Battenberg episode? I've got to have a look at that. Surely not. Surely not. Did anybody write in and say, can we have the Battenberg? Because there's a scat queen in Europe that likes a piece. And the Battenberg. Beata and Amalia agree. And yes, he's got me through too until he became unhinged and nasty and obsessed with ropes and NPC car parks. Oh, I say. Him and Frank Boff. Ebony, Mr. Collett, my sister's a lesbian, and that joke is absolutely spot on. Hang on, Don Wigley, I wish they'd just act strictly. It's gone on far too long. BBC middle class bias. I'm with you, Dom, but I mean, I did a few years ago watch it. I preferred Brucey presenting it, and that's not any slur on the girls that's presenting it. But hang on, Les Griffiths. I hope Alabama fudge cake doesn't catch on. Mind you, you could always box it up, Les. Then you'd be a fudge packer. Sorry, Alabama fudge packer. I bet it was a messy episode, Tom Harley's, but I bet it smelled beautiful the day after. Stuart says, I watched it laughing my head off because of your story. Brilliant, Stuart. I haven't seen it. Maybe I need that comedy episode. It would be comedy gold, to be fair. An English bottle cap says, even if he was bent, Liberace was always entertaining when he was on TV. It was who he was entertaining off TV that was the problem. I mean, there's like, who knew about Rock Hudson? Some of the Hollywood, I mean, you know the term lavender marriage, don't you? It came out of Hollywood. Hollywood had really good looking swines who were gay. And they knew that the audience wouldn't accept them as gay, like Rock Hudson. James Dean, Rock Hudson, all the good looking swines in Hollywood. So what the studios did was they got an actress who obviously wanted a few bob because their career might not have been going anywhere. Wow. Claudia Winkleman's hubby is one of the producers on Mobland. Nice, Bad Wolf Project. So what they would do is they came up with this term lavender marriage. So and it went for the lesbians as well. It went for the gay women as well. They would get a good-looking guy, and they would either have them married or they would have them in a relationship for a while. Happened in this country. That's PR. So it's not necessarily getting stories into the press. It's keeping other stories out of the press. I see you. Rock Hudson was gay. Died of AIDS. I see you. And he was kissing people on Dallas. Was it Dallas or was it the other one? Colby Place or something. And he kissed one of the actresses and then came out that he had AIDS. Oh, the furore. Lady Vic likes lavender. Really? Hello, my name's David. Yeah, we had to take a chapter out of me biography because, well, the Manchester United fans used to say Posh takes it up the arse. And I can't tell you what was in the chapter of the book because not necessarily a D notice, but they are quite litigious, so I'm not going to tell you. Paulie Makepeace says, I always wondered about Laurence Olivier. Both ways, I think, Pauline. But Dynasty, thank you, Michelle Gooder. Thank you, Michelle. Dynasty. Is that the one with... what's the difference between Joan Collins and a large Kit Kat? What's the difference between Joan Collins and a bowling ball? I mean, so lavender marriages, there's been tons of them over the years. Still happening. There's still gay guys going to diddy parties and shagging blokes, and then they'll just appear at the garden gate with their wife and kids. I mean, look, if you've got royalty that have got, baby bumps, moon bumps, and somebody else has had the kids for them, money buys you anything. Literally anything nowadays. Tom Harney's, Els Lanchester and Charles Lawton, famous lavender marriage. Yeah, Charles Lawton, who I say. Les Griffiths, Dynasty, more like dysentery, it was shite. Les, brutal, man, brutal. Belinda Jane Harris, what's the first sign of AIDS? Trying to work out whether that's a gag, Belinda. David Graham, Dallas was a bit better than Dynasty. Rampant in the aristocracy, Gene Psychic. So I've told you before, how it works is the Romans, the Roman Empire. The Romans, women for procreation, men for recreation. Tighter, seemingly. Not that I would know. So the Romans, rampant in the aristocracy. So you've got the aristocracy who are like, oh, hello. The poppers, from what I can gather, from the gay clubs in Newcastle, I used to work as a DJ. That's why they take poppers, amyl nitrate, because it relaxes the sphincter. Is this an education for you tonight? Elsa Lanchester, The Bride of Dracula. Oh, I said, Lauren Taylor, Friday evening. Was it ITV? Yeah, it must have been. It wasn't the BBC. Used to put all the werewolf and Dracula and there was loads and loads and loads of actors who had beautiful wives, but the wives were getting it elsewhere. because they weren't getting it from the husband. That's a lavender marriage. The term came out of Hollywood. Ebony, Kenny Everett to reporters who doorstepped him in 1982. How dare you? I'm not living with a man. I'm living with two men. Kenny was funny. He didn't care. Freddie was, as in Freddie Mercury. He had some stories and life stories, and then it turns out that he gave all of his stuff to his girlfriend before he decided he liked blokes rather than women. Adam Well, I thought it was just a song by Suede. Lavender. Suede's great band. Great band. Pauline Makepeace. Margaret Rutherford, married to her co-star, but I think both were gay. There's every chance. Margaret Rutherford, definitely. But there was some, breathtakingly beautiful women in Hollywood who preferred the sapphic side of life to cock, as in chickens. Maybe they kept them in the garden. I don't know. Well, it's America, whatever gets them through the night. Before I go on, there's nearly 250 people watching this and only 124 likes. How weird, man. Just smash the likes, please, if you're enjoying the live so far. I really would appreciate it. I'm not asking money. I'm just asking for likes, really. Sounds like a Black Mirror episode. Gene Psychic, do you know... Hang on. Gene Psychic, did you know Nick Abbott, Adrian? Yes, I do. Imagine a Battenberg marriage. They both smell nice. And the day after. Ghetto Defender, Jeremy Thorpe tried to cover it up unsuccessfully. Wasn't it Norman? Wasn't it the male model that they tried to shoot and it was linked to Jeremy Thorpe, and the parasitical classes in Ozempic Palace tried to cover it all up? Thank you, Stuart. I'll get down to that in a second. Thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate your support again. Belinda Jane Harris, Les, yes, I bet they hate getting grouped in with the alphabet crew. Yeah, I agree. By the way, the actor Dick Van Dyke is 99 years old at the moment. He'll turn 100 this December. Let's hope Mr. Dyke can reach this century. Yeah, there's nothing better than a 100-year-old Dick. You set it up for me. Did you not realise I was going to take that? Says David Graham. Let's get the bottom. Thank you again, Stuart. Cool, blimey. I'm never going to keep up with this. Thank you, Stuart. Les Griffith says Thorpe was outed by Thames Water police who caught him bobbing up and down on a buoy. Very good, Les. Ghetto Defendant, they shot Norman Scott's dog instead of him. I know. Blimey, what were they? Are they cross-eyed or something? Terry Wookfit, Thorpe wrote a book, Scott of the Arse Antics. Very good, Terry. Bad Wolf Project, Belinda Jane. Are you a fan of the Convicted Stalker? I think Belinda Jane's been a regular for a while, but intermittently, isn't that right? Rachel Reeves confirms major... Oh, man. Now the alert. So, Rachel from Accounts is going to shaft us. I'm not going to tax you. I'm just going to do your pensions. I've said to you before, the pensioners in this country are going to revolt against this scum in Ozempic Palace because they're just... How can you tell when a politician's lying? Their lips move. So Rachel Reeves from Accounts. Rachel from Accounts. Fucking hell. Bad Wolf Project. His days are numbered. Pauline Makepeace. I tried to find the Jeremy Thorpe drama, but it's gone off the iPlayer. I bet it has. I can't remember who played Jeremy Thorpe, but I'm old enough to remember the actual reportage at the time. Right, okay. God blimey. Tablock Tracy, next time you visit Manchester, visit the gay quarter. Right. I was trying to work the gag out there. Tablock Tracy says, next time you visit Manchester, visit the gay quarter. The C from canal and the S from street have both been removed to read... Do I have to tell you? Are you struggling tonight? Take the C from canal and the S from street. What do you get? Anal treat. Des Ashton. Hugh Grant played Thorpe. Did he? Can't tell you. Can't tell you. No, can't get around it. I was going to tell you something there, but I can't because they'll sue me. Everybody's laughing tonight. Des, it was a great drama. I wanted to watch it again. I'm sure it was. Phil Sumner. I used to enjoy listening to Boris and sometimes Rishi Washy, but Keir makes my piss boil. Phil, we're with you. The whole country's with you. We've literally had enough of the man. Had enough. Because I think the whole country, other than those that are not very bright, can see through him. We've had so many scandals, like laying a wreath in Southport. What the was that about? And then he's laying flowers for him and Mayor Carnage, laying flowers for 7/7 20 years later. And you just think, what are you two fucking clowns doing? I mean, I don't know whether you swear at the telly, but I'm surprised my telly's still working, because I swear I love bricks, I love all kinds of shite that I see on my telly, because it's just theatre. That's all politics is. It's entertainment for the masses of the military-industrial complex. That's all it is. The politicians actually think we believe them. We don't. John Carpenter, English, not British. Who is? I do not watch TV no more. Me too, Gene. I've lacked me telly. Too many bricks being thrown at it. Amalia says, just looked it up. Lovely part of the world, near the sea. Well, Joe. David Graham says, it was on BBC Two last Saturday night to mark 40 years of Live Aid with Bob Geldof. Here, let me tell you something. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. That's what I'm going to tell you a story now and see if I can remember it off the top of my head. I've met Geldof a few times. And for me personally, doesn't come across as a man that engages you. Well, he might engage some people, but he's just full of his own stuff. And you know, the Live Aid musical in London, I saw this piece about Geldof doing his thing for Live Aid, and then Midjour came on board and also sang some stuff. Let me tell you, I choose my heroes carefully. Brian Clough, Muhammad Ali, Robert Plant. Now, I don't know whether you know the story, but Robert Plant lost a son very, very early. The boy was little, just almost a baby boy. And so Robert Plant has had loss. He's a fabulously wealthy man. He's a wonderfully talented singer, and Led Zeppelin is one of my favorite groups, bands, however you want to describe them. But their music is fantastic. So you've got 40 years since Live Aid. Where did the money go? Just asking for a friend, where did the money go? But you know those bands that got washed away in Texas? Robert Plant, quietly and unassumingly, didn't go the Geldof route. He donated $1.5 million of his own money. You will not see that anywhere in the mainstream media in this country. Robert Plant, what a beautiful soul, understands what loss is. He lost one of his sons a long time ago, and that still sits with him. And he saw all these little girls that were washed away and killed by the floods in Texas, and donated $1.5 million for the girls' families and those that suffered because of the flooding. Didn't want any coverage, didn't want anybody to say anything or treat him any differently. He just stepped up. His own money. He gave $1.5 million away of his own money. Not, give me the fucking money, get on the phones and give me the fucking money, or whatever Geldof did at Live Aid. It's all theatre, darling. And now they've got a musical. Who's making the money from the musical? Who makes the money from Do They Know It's Christmas, the 7-inch single? The vinyl. Who makes the money from it? And Geldof getting on stage. I mean, Jesus, he must be nearly 70 now. But Robert Plant, forever, I will revere the man. Because he didn't make any fuss. No song and dance, no pun intended. He just went to the people and said, I want to donate. Please allow me to donate. He didn't say, I'll give you 10 grand or 20 grand. $1.5 million of his own money. So when we talk about Live Aid, who was it that made the money? Where did the money go? Did it go to Africa? Do they know it's Christmas time at all? No. The bloody money wouldn't make any difference to their lives. What do they do? Just drill water wells. Robert Plant gave them $1.5 million of his own money with no fuss, no thanks, doing the right thing by families and people that are struggling to come to terms with their children being washed away by the floods. That's the difference between Geldof and Plant. Plant actually fronted more than a half decent band. I mean, there are some songs that the Boomtown Rats were all right at, but they're no Led Zeppelin, and Geldof is no Robert Plant, let me tell you. But you won't read that anywhere in the mainstream media. You won't read it anywhere. Yeah, I know, Gene Psychic, Geoengineering, they will be in the UK soon. Who's that? Mephistopheles. The story was that Noel Edmonds helicoptered the musicians around during Live Aid, but he didn't do it for free like the bands did. Really, Rachel? Well, there's... I can't do that either. He's still alive. And I know, he had his own helicopter company. But who was it that made the most money? Was it the Africans? Was it the people that were suffering in Africa? Or was it the record companies who sold a shit ton of vinyl after Live Aid? 40 years down the line, some of those artists are still going well. I'm sorry, but I'm just a cynical old tart. I didn't, at the time, especially when they played Cars, and, those bands were struggling, distended stomachs, all of that. It was played, we were played so that millionaires made money off the back of Africa. So the record sales went through the roof for some of those artists. I mean, the British leg was better than the American leg, and Led Zeppelin won't ever let you see what they played in the American leg. I think it was Robert Plant that was down, but Led Zeppelin played. And they were so disappointed by their performance that you'll never see Led Zeppelin at Live Aid ever again. They won't allow it. Matthew Whedon, Band-Aid had to pay Wembley for the use of the stadium. Did they? Money-grabbing bastards. Pauline Makepeace, I have a photo of me at a Live Aid party, pregnant with my son, who was 40 soon. Wow, what a story that is, Pauline. Tom Harney's. Is it on YouTube? Did somebody record it? Oh, I need to watch that, Tom, because Jimmy Page and Robert Plant have said that they don't want people to watch their Live Aid performance because it's not up to scratch. Africans will be in the UK next. They're already here, Mephistopheles. They're already here. And the Afghanistanis. Did you ever interview Edmonds? I find him quite irritating. Beata, I didn't. He was too much up his own arse. In my view, just my view, I'm allowed it. No, I didn't. I mean, some of my friends have, and so this is third hand, so I'm not really gonna get embroiled in that. Just lost Vineyard in New Zealand. Has he, Garen? I mean, I know he's got a pub or something, and he's. Why did he go to New Zealand? Just why? Ask yourself, why did Noel Edmonds, the king of all he surveys, why would he go to New Zealand? I'll give you the answer another time. No, it wasn't Mr. Blobby Jean Psychic. English bottle cap water rates are going up astronomically in the UK. Blame the Labour government. Blame the Labour politicians. Blame the lying Labour politicians. I do have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I don't want to really waste it. I want to talk about the CIA and its connections to Lee Harvey Oswald. I've interviewed a guy called Mark Shaw. There's a couple of interviews coming to the channel for you. Jeremy Vine this week, Mark Shaw soon. I've got Professor Roy Taylor. I've already recorded an interview with him about type 2 diabetes and how to get round it. So I will. I just want to be able to walk you through the DOJ and the FBI saying, "Oh, there's no Epstein client list." You've been kidding me. So I believe, and I'll say this again, I've said it every single night, Trump's done. Unless he can present the evidence, because we were told it was on Pam Bondi's desk, and we were told it was all being put together, and then all of a sudden Netanyahu visits Trump, and then all of a sudden they're saying there's no Epstein client list. It was 14 terabytes worth of evidence. Just show us the bloody videos. Just show us which scum-sucking pond life was banging kids at Epstein's place in New York. All the cameras were there. They were recording everything. Was it Bill Gates? Was it Bill Clinton? Was it anybody else called Bill? Just show us the videos. Because they can't sue anyone. They can't do anything about it. But Netanyahu pitched up, and I said this last night. The minute Netanyahu turned up and said, look, Mossad have got all the evidence. You can't do anything about it because we don't want you to, because we are just pulling the strings. Trump knows he's out. Yep. Yacht girl. Well, Gene, thankfully, you've not mentioned any names, but you know, seemingly, that his Uncle Andrew had Yacht Girl before Ginger Bollocks. I mean, they didn't call his Uncle Andrew Randy Andy for nout. Pauline Makepeace. No, I don't want to say that. But you see, if you just publish the evidence, and maybe at some way or point, Trump is playing 75D chess. So he's trying to bring peace to Russia and Ukraine. He's trying to make sure that Israel, and Israel won't without America's involvement, take on Iran, because Iran will bomb the shit out of Israel. That's why Israel needs America's involvement. And then you've got China and Taiwan. China is not mucking about. They're going to go to war with Taiwan at some point. And Trump wants to be seen as the peace president, not the doolally president like the previous one. Edmonds netted £600,000 from I Am a Z-list celeb hack. Did he really? I see you. Who hasn't had her? Me and you, I think. Mind you, I have my doubts about you. Gene Psychic says Trump is not the Antichrist. I know he's not, but he's got 4 years. 2026 is going to be all about them separating from the monarch, the crown in this country. They might invite William over if he's not king by then. Positive Bay of Plenty and positively Turanga. I think the Bad Wolf Project's been on the zero alcohol Tanqueray. English bottle cap. Me of us have a stronger constitution than some others. Release the videos. Yeah, that's what I say. I mean, can you imagine Who's that spotty arse that I can see going like a fiddler's elbow? Oh, my word, it's Bill Clinton. Oh, hello, Bill. Does Hillary know that you've, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Too late, mate. It was all over her dress. That's not mine. Well, you're getting the splashback for it. Trump is no statesman. I know, Gene. But Tablock Tracy says, what's that banging? My next client, Tablock Tracy. It's a bloody door because it's banging like a barn door in a storm, and it's a stormy night, and it's my barn door. Les Griffith says, right, that's it for me. Good night, all. God, blimey, Les, where's your constitution? But I agree. All of the stuff that I've got, I'm going to keep for tomorrow night. And if I don't get it all done tomorrow night, because it'll be another 2.5 hours tomorrow night. If I don't, so we start at 8 tomorrow night, not 7:30. 8 tomorrow night. I'll keep it for tomorrow night, and I'll pick out the juicy bits because there's tons of it that the mainstream media are not covering. So I will tell you tomorrow. Edmonds runs a community radio station in New Zealand. One of the programs is called Positively Bay of Plenty and Positively Turanga. Wow. I remember when he was doing Radio 1 and he was doing Dingley Dell Sunday mornings. That's how much of an anorak I am. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for your likes. Please, can we get me to over 200 likes, please? It's something that YouTube looks at, and if it gets over 200, then it considers my channel successful. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but as I say every single live, thank you for your indulgence. Thank you for your continued support of the channel. I really do appreciate it. And we've got memberships coming, with interviews coming, and we've got other stuff also in the pipeline for you. Got a new song coming, but that may take us a few days. Keep your eyes open, because if you haven't seen the last Rapping Rev, it's posted on the front page. Have a look at that. We've got another one coming. Tablock Tracy, will you be doing anything special for Live 200 on Sunday? Oh, you bet your sweet bippy. But tomorrow night, I'm going to ask you what you would prefer, whether it's a quiz, whether it's music, whether we take light-hearted, or whether we kind of mix it all up and just do it for the whole evening. I might start earlier on Sunday for the 200th. Tomorrow night, it's Live 199. And then we'll look at what we're going to do on Sunday. But I would like your input tomorrow night. So I may start a little earlier, but we're definitely live from 8. Rev, this channel keeps me from pressing the delete button. Brilliant, Paul Morton. So look after yourself. Whatever you do, wherever you go, be well. Don't forget the Battenberg. And remember, this is not a show. This is a mission. And the mission continues. Tomorrow night, probably from 8 o'clock. Wednesday night. See you then, and I hope you've enjoyed tonight. And please, if you can, smash the likes before we go home so I can get to over 200. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.